Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who'd Win and Why. And this time we got Ben 10 going up against Ironman. Now, both of these characters are extremely versatile. They can choose from many different aliens or suits of armor, depending on which character you're looking at. And now they're facing off in a one-on-one battle to the death. Now, before I start with this video, there are a few things I want to say about each character and how I'm doing this fight to make sure that you guys aren't confused when I talk about these characters later on in the battle. First, let's talk about Ben 10. So with Ben 10, I'm going to be doing the same thing with him as I did when I did Ben 10 versus Beast Boy, and that is I'm going to be using the Alien Force aliens only. Now, I know some of you might not like that. You might be thinking that, like, why aren't I using the strongest version of Ben 10? Why aren't I using Ultimate Alien or anything? And the reason why I'm doing that is because I feel that if we do use Ultimate Alien, Ben would pretty much beat anyone. He has so many aliens. He has, like, way big, which is almost, like, impossible to beat because of his size. I just feel that, like, having Ben 10 use all of his aliens is just way too much for most opponents. So I just feel that, like, there's really no point in doing a video if I'm using Ultimate Alien. However, with Alien Force, just limiting it to 10 aliens, that's more fair. First of all, it's the most fair, in my opinion, with this kind of fight. And also, I just feel that, it's the most I know about, and it's just, like, it's worth doing a video about. So, yeah, that's why I'm doing it. And for Iron Man, I'm limiting it to 7 suits. I don't want to give him all of his suits because even though most likely if he has access to 7 suits, if he'd have access to 7 suits, he'd have access to all of them, but I'm not going to be doing that this time. I'm only going to give him 7 suits to make this as fair as possible. So in other words, Ben 10 has 10 aliens, Iron Man has 7 suits. I will get into those suits later when I go over what Iron Man can do and what his capabilities are. But yeah, now that I've gotten that introduction out of the way, let's get right into this. So, who'd win and why? Let's find out. So first I'm going to talk about Ben 10. Now, Ben 10, there are, like his 10 aliens that he has. Actually, a lot of these aliens, they do have, like, some sort of, like, enhanced strength or enhanced speed, enhanced durability, like, enhanced physical traits. But for this video alone, I'm going to be trying to just go over the main things that that's unique to each alien. I'm not going to be trying to go too much into each alien because if I did, this video would be way too long as there's, like, 10 aliens and 7 suits to cover. So I'm going to try to go over just the specifics and, like, what each alien has unique to them for each alien, so I don't spend too much time going over everything. So let's get right into it. So his first alien is Goop. Now Goop is like this goopy alien. It's actually a shapeshifter that can take, like, many different forms, like pretty much any form it wants to, and Goop is essentially invulnerable and resistant to most forms of attacks because, if you, like, punch through him, he'll just, like, morph back together. So I'm not sure, like, if it's that he can, like, resist pain. Like, he might still be able to be hurt, but the point is he's pretty much invulnerable and essentially has, like, a very good healing factor. He can just morph back together. I know we can also shoot out blobs of goop, like blobs of goo. He can also, like, shoot out acid from his hands, which is pretty cool. I believe in a game he's actually been able to, like, spin his legs around so fast that they're like helicopter blades and use those as offensive attacks, which is really cool in my opinion. The main weakness, I guess, for Goop is that he does have his little anti-gravity projector, which is that little metal thing above his head that allows him to stand up, and I believe it also allows him to talk. And if he doesn't have that, then he cannot really move. He's just, like, on the ground. But if it does get destroyed, he can just create a new one just like that. So it's not really much of a weakness for him. Next up is Swamp Fire. Now, Swamp Fire works with fire. I'm sure you guys already knew that. But he also has chlorokinesis, which more or less means he has control over all forms of plant life, more or less. I think that's what it means. And he also, like I said, he can shoot out fire, like fire projection. He also has a lot of different plant-like abilities. Like, he's been able to, I believe, like, create sleeping seeds and, like, different types of spores, and he's even been able to, like, use vines to, like, ensnare his opponents, which is really cool. And other plant stuff, I believe he can also create adhesive mud. And other plant stuff, I believe he also has, like, methane projection, which is pretty cool. I believe he can also heal himself as well, to the point where he can, like, even regrow parts of his body, which is a really good healing factor, if you ask me. And I believe he can also fly to some extent using propulsion, something like that, or maybe he can just jump far. I'm not 100% sure, but those are the main things that you have to know for Swamp Fire. Next up, we have Chromastone. Now, Chromastone, if you've seen this guy, you know that he looks pretty strong and durable. But along with that, he can also make ultraviolet force fields. He can shoot ultraviolet energy. He can even shoot out light, I believe, like light projection, which is pretty cool, and light creation. What else can he do? I believe he can also absorb energy and shoot it back, which is really cool. If you're fighting someone that uses like energy attacks, like electricity or something, you're gonna want to be able to absorb as much as you can and shoot it right back out. So that's really, really good. That's an alien you might want to use if you're fighting someone that uses a lot of energy in their attacks in any way, shape, or form. Really, I believe it can all. Chromastone can also fly, and he can survive in space, which is really cool. And yeah, that's the main. Again, I'm not going to try to go into too much detail. I'm just saying like what these aliens are like, what's specific to them essentially. Because again, if I did it for all of them, it would just go way too long. If I did it for a long thing for each of them. So next up, you have Big Chill. Now, Big Chill has cryokinesis, which I'm sure most of you know is like control over ice. It can shoot out ice from his hands, but also from his mouth, for like freezing breath and also wind breath. I know that Big Chill can also fly pretty fast. And then Big Chill's also intangible. It has temperature resistant. I know it's definitely resistant to cold. I'm not sure about heat though, but definitely has cold resistance as one of its abilities. So yeah, those are the main things to know about Big Chill. And being intangible, I know being intangible doesn't resist against other people being intangible. They won't actually phase through each other. They'll actually fight in their intangible forms, I believe, which is actually really interesting. I actually quite like that concept. But yeah, that's pretty much what Big Chill is. For Humungousaur, that's up next. Humungousaur is pretty much the most self-explanatory of the bunch, in my opinion. Humungousaur is obviously extremely strong and extremely durable. I believe it can also alter his size to some extent, and can also breathe in space to some extent as well. It's limited, very limited, but he's definitely like the strongest and most durable out of all the aliens, all the 10 aliens that Ben 10 has. Next up is Brainstorm. Now, Brainstorm is mainly used for like intelligence purposes. When Ben transforms into Brainstorm, he gets like a huge increase in intelligence, and is generally used for strategy. It is extremely strong, well, not extremely, but it is pretty strong and durable. So I guess it can like go like hand to hand if Ben really wanted to do that. But generally, he saves that more for Humungousaur, Swampfire, or other powerful aliens that he has. This one's more so for strategy. Although, if he does need to fight, I know he can also shoot out electricity, like from his brain, and I believe it can also create a force field and even levitate to some extent. So yeah, that's pretty much what Brainstorm does. But again, if it's like going hand-to-hand combat, Brainstorm is generally not what Ben resorts to. It's more so for strategy. Jetray, also very self-explanatory. This is an alien that can fly and move on the ground at very high speeds. It's probably definitely the fastest alien that Ben has out of the 10. So yeah, that's essentially what it can do. I believe it also has like Neuroshock Blast or something like that, which is also something that it can use for offense. Again, this is probably one of those aliens, even though it does have enhanced strength, it's one of those aliens that you probably would not want to go like hand to hand with. Sometimes it's used for escaping, or sometimes it's used for like faking out the opponent, for like going around super fast. But again, there are stronger aliens that Ben can resort to. Next up, I believe, is Spider Monkey. So Spider Monkey is like, the main thing with him is that he can spin webs and climb on walls just like a spider. And he also has enhanced strength and agility. Agility is really where he shines. He's very small and is like almost like an acrobat in himself. Like acrobatics, he knows. I guess he can perform some acrobatics with his small and agile body. And yeah, he can spin webs, just like a spider. And he's like basically the abilities of a spider and the agility of a monkey. So that's pretty good. Again, he lacks in like physical strength, but only in comparison to the other aliens. I believe still Spider Monkey and pretty much all of his aliens are stronger than Ben himself. But even so, that's him. That's Spider Monkey. Next up, we have it's Echo, and basically he's very self-explanatory as well. He can make like a ton of duplicates of himself and create sonic screams. And believe me, when you have like a whole lineup of Echoes all screaming at once, that is a situation you do not want to be in. It's really hard to get out of. That's going to do some damage. Now, I know that some of you might be expecting me to say the 10th alien, because now we're up to number 10, is Alien X. However, I believe that in order for Ben to use Alien X, he had to ask permission. So we're not going to be using Alien X. And again, some of you might be really upset about that. But again, if we were using Alien X, I really don't think that there's much use making this video. It's like not really worth it, in my opinion. The alien that replaces Alien X, however, is Cannonballed. Now, Cannonballed, he's pretty self-explanatory as well. If you watch the original Ben 10 stuff, like he can basically curl up into a ball and go extremely fast. Pretty much and then he can slam it to his enemies. He's very strong and durable, obviously, because of just his size and, just his hard shell. I believe that when he's like in his rolling around in ball form, he can actually What can he do? Like he can, like he's pretty much invulnerable while he's in that form. I believe even lasers have like really hard times trying to get through his hide. So that's really cool. Ben 10 himself, again, this is Alien Force, so he doesn't have as much experience as someone from as Ben from Ultimate Alien would. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have experience. He might crack jokes on the battlefield, but whether he's by himself or with his team, like with his friends, he has fought other aliens and other creatures before that do pose huge threats. So yeah, this guy definitely has his fair share of experience. He sometimes works with other people, as I've said, possibly more than he works by himself, but he definitely can work by himself. And again, he's got 10 extremely different aliens, and that makes him a very formidable opponent in battle. So now let's move on to Iron Man. Now, honestly, Ben 10 took way longer than I thought, so I'm trying to go quickly with Iron Man. So the main suits that like Iron Man, I'm going to be using the seven suits. They might not be the mainest suits that he has, like the suits he uses more often, but I feel like they're like, it gives a lot of versatility. Like they're like different suits, and they're also very well known. I like to think they're pretty well known. So yeah, so I'm just going to go over the 7 suits. I'll talk about them as I name them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over what all the suits generally have, or at least most of the suits what they have. So let me just explain what I mean by that. So all of the suits, or at least most of them, can lift up to 100 tons. Or possibly even more depending on the suit. They can fly at supersonic speeds. On the ground, they're also really fast. They can move faster than an extremis super soldier's eye can track, which I'm assuming is very impressive. They're also made of a gold titanium alloy. They have Jarvis on board, which controls the weaponry and can summon other suits, which I will talk about in a second. And it's also generally what strategizes for Tony. Even though Tony is extremely intelligent, generally the strategy comes from Jarvis, and when he analyzes his opponent and tells him everything that he needs to know about him, or that he thinks that Tony would want to know. Tony doesn't always listen to Jarvis, but it's definitely something that Jarvis does. What else? I know that Tony is extremely intelligent. As I've said, I believe he has an IQ of 195, which is very insane if you ask me. Like, I believe 140 is pretty much considered, like, if you have an IQ of 140 or above, that pretty much puts you at genius level by definition. So 195, that is ridiculous. He in the Iron Man movie, he did build his stuff in a cave, so it makes sense. But yeah, he's ridiculously intelligent. But all the suits, like I said, like they also have other weaponry, like they have the unibeam, the repulsors, and this doesn't go for all the suits. Like there's even one suit that doesn't have all of this weaponry, but for most of the suits they do. They also have like different rockets, like the shoulder rockets. I believe it also has like some sort of rocket on like this part of the arm, for both of the arms on the suit, and other stuff like I said, like with Jarvis, and it can also fly, stuff like that. And those are the main things that all Iron Man suits have in common. Now let's talk about them individually. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Mark 42. Mark 42 is like, I believe it can, he can call it piece by piece, which is rather cool. I know it was based off of the Extremis armor. Again, it's like very strong, just like the rest of the other Iron Man suits. And yeah, he can basically do it. I believe like he has to like call on it, like I think maybe Jarvis has to do it. Like he can't really do it telepathically. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. But that's pretty much what the Mark 42 is. It's generally probably the most generic out of all the suits that I'm going to be mentioning today. But yeah, that's essentially what the Mark 42 is. That's what it does. Oh, and it also has a self-repair system. That's something I forgot to mention. It has a self-repair system that can basically self-repair itself if it has any big damages going for it, like at the moment. Next up is the Mark 44, which is the Hulkbuster Armor. Now, I'm sure most of you guys already know what this is. It's the heavy modular armor. It sacrifices a lot of speed, but that's why I said most suits can fly at supersonic speeds. I know it can fly, but probably not that fast. But it's extremely strong enough to equal the Hulk in battle, and also durable enough to take Hulk's punches. And yeah, that's pretty much what the Hulkbuster suit is. Next up is Mark 16, which is his stealth armor. This armor, this doesn't actually have a lot of the weapons. Like, I believe it has repulsors and the unibeam, but that's pretty much it. It doesn't have a lot of those special weapons. It obviously has Jarvis on board, but not a lot of the special weapons. That's because it's mainly used for stealth. It does have some sort of speed increase as well, but I don't think it's as strong. It's likely not as strong, and generally, if he's going like hand-to-hand in battle, it's not the suit he would go for. It's the stealth armor, which makes you wonder why I put this in this thing in the first place, if he might not use it. But again, I'm trying to talk about a lot of different suits, bring a lot of different suits together. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. What's next? Next, I believe, is his speed armor, which is Mark 40. I believe it can fly at like Mach 5 speeds and beyond. It's definitely his fastest suit that he has. And it is also really strong and durable, but again, generally it focuses on speed. It's much faster, and it probably is lighter just to make up for that, just in order for it to get as much speed as possible. It is probably lighter. Don't quote me on that. I might be completely wrong. wrong when saying that, but that's what I've gathered. Next up is and now I'm forgetting what I think this one is Mark 25. I think I'm getting these numbers right, which is his, I think it's like his striker armor or something like that. It's a very powerful armor that focuses on raw power. I believe it has removable pneumatic hammers, and it's very strong. Like, if you're going for a suit that has a lot of power, that focuses on power, like the unibeam or the repulsors, or just strength in general, but you don't want to sacrifice a lot of speed, this is definitely a suit that you should be considering. This one is extremely strong, extremely durable, has removable hammers, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I know I'm not going into a lot of the science behind it, or bringing up a lot of numbers, but basically there's not a lot of stuff to go off of. A lot of the suits do have a lot of stuff in common, so yeah, there's not a lot to go over. Next up we have Mark 30, which is the Extremis armor. Now this armor, again, this is the one that the Mark 42 is based off of. I know it's connected to Tony's brain, so he can summon it telepathically, which is really cool. It's a lot like the Extremis armor. I don't believe it has some sort of self-repair system, but and again, it's another more generic suit, a lot like the Mark 42 armor. So yeah, that's what it is. And then lastly, we have the Endosim armor from the Superior Iron Man storyline. So this armor is it's pretty much, it's kind of technology, but it's also biology. It's actually, I've heard it's not even technology, it's biology. It's its own living thing, kind of like the symbiote, but it's not really like that. It's kind of like that. It's its own living thing that Tony can summon telepathically, and its repulsor blast and its energy projection is insane. Honestly, it's been able to injure metahumans, or whatever, Extremis soldiers, I forget which one it is, that can actually absorb energy, which is ridiculous. That's absolutely insane. And that means that's very powerful energy you've got there if someone that can absorb energy gets hurt by it. So yeah, that's definitely something that Tony has with the sorry, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but that's definitely something good that the Endosim armor has, and like I said, it's also extremely strong and durable. I don't know everything about it, but I know it's a very OP set of armor. It's ridiculously strong, I know that. Able to stand up, according to Death Battle, able to stand up to Lex Luthor's armor extremely well. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, those are pretty much the Iron Man armors. I hope I didn't forget anything. If I did forget to say something, that doesn't mean I don't know about it, just to let you guys know, because there's a lot to go over in this one, just with the information. We're already 17 minutes in, and I'm still going over the information. And like I said, I already talked about Tony himself. He does have alcoholism, but that's probably not going to play that much into the fight. The main weakness, I guess, that Tony has is that, sometimes he can use up the suit's energy too quickly, and they've been known to malfunction sometimes, but he's got other suits if that does happen, and because they can move extremely fast, they're going to get there pretty quickly. So this guy is very versatile, very strong, very powerful. He's definitely not someone you want to mess with in a one-on-one battle to the death, I can tell you that. Now, trying to figure out who would win in a fight between these two is actually pretty tough. Ben does have 10 not suits of armor. Ben does have 10 aliens, and Iron Man does have 10 suits of armor. So, they do have a lot of versatility. Both of them are extremely versatile. They've both worked by themselves and with other people, and they do have a lot of experience under their belts. So yeah, it's really hard to try to figure out who would win between these two characters. And like I said, I'm limiting Ben for the reason that I did, because I feel like it's the most fair. However, with that being said, after looking over this for a while, I do personally believe that Iron Man will win this fight. And again, if this was Ultimate Alien, if I did include Alien X, probably Ben would win. I haven't gone to I don't really know that much about Alien X, but I know he's ridiculously powerful, and with Way Big in Ultimate Alien, that is ridiculous as well. But my point that I'm trying to make is that I do believe that this is the most fair, and this is what I know most about. And if I did put these guys in, Ultimate Alien or Alien X, it's just, there's no point doing the video. There's no point for you guys clicking on it. So I'm trying to do something new, something different, something fair. And this is what I feel is the most fair, but I do believe that Iron Man will win this fight. And please, let me just explain myself. And because I'm starting to run out of time, because it's already almost 19 minutes long, I am just going to try to make this quick. Now, basically, the main reason why I feel Iron Man wins this is because Ben has a lot of different aliens, and is he more versatile? Maybe, probably. I mean, he does, Iron Man's suits, a lot of them are very similar, and Ben does have more aliens than Tony does have suits in this specific battle. However, I do still believe Iron Man would win, and just because someone has more aliens does not mean that they're going to beat someone with more suits. Let me explain. The main reason why I feel that Iron Man would win this is because with Ben's aliens, he has one alien that's really good with speed. He has one alien that's really good with intelligence. He has one alien that's really good with strength and durability. Obviously, all of them have some sort of enhanced strength and durability and probably agility and speed to some capacity, but still, like, only one alien, Jetray really focuses on speed. Brainstorm really focuses on intelligence. Humungousaur focuses heavily on strength and durability. However, when you compare that to Iron Man, all of his suits pretty much focus on all aspects. Most of his suits are extremely strong, able to lift up to 100 tons, and I don't believe there are many aliens that Ben has that would be able to stand up to that. Probably Humungousaur would be able to, but even then, Iron Man has the Hulkbuster that probably would be able to match him in strength. I'm pretty sure Humungousaur would not be as strong as Hulk. That's just my opinion, but I'm pretty confident when I say that. Obviously, the suits are very fast, all of them, if they can fly at supersonic speeds, and again, Jetray would probably be the only alien that would be able to be comparable to that. They're all durable with a gold titanium alloy. They're all extremely powerful, especially the Endosim armor. We all know that Tony is smart as heck, and basically no matter which suit he chooses, he's going to have like an advantage in almost every category. Like when we have let's just say like any suit of armor, let's just say the Mark 42 versus Jetray. Maybe Jetray would have the advantage in speed, and that's a very big maybe. But then Iron Man would have like the curb stomping edge in like pretty much every other category. Intelligence, definitely, because Jetray would have the intelligence of Ben. And then when we have strength and durability, definitely Iron Man would have the advantage in that, no matter which suit we use. I know I said I'd use Mark 42, but really it doesn't matter. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that yes, there are some times where like Humungousaur would give Iron Man a good run for his money, when it comes to strength. And then he'd have to change into like the Hulkbuster or maybe the Endosim or something to counter that. But basically what I'm trying to say is that for most aliens going up against most suits, Iron Man would just have the edge just because he'd have more advantages at a given time. Like there would be no given time where Ben would have the intelligence of Brainstorm, the speed of Jetray, the strength and durability of Humungousaur all at once. But there would be a time where Iron Man would have extreme strength, extreme speed, extreme intelligence, extreme durability, extreme like a lot of weapons and power. So basically what I'm trying to say is that, any given alien or most given aliens would not be able to stand up to a very powerful, strong, durable, fast suit of armor that Iron Man has. Now, there are some instances where Ben 10 would get the edge on Tony, but again, that's just certain instances. Let me explain. Like, yes, it would be very hard for the Mark 42 to stand up against Humungousaur, but as soon as Tony sees Humungousaur, he knows he's going to have to change into his Hulkbuster, or he could just stand back and keep shooting him with a repulsor blast. And with Chromastone, maybe Chromastone would absorb his energy and shoot it back. But then if that happens, he could do one of two things. One, he could change into his Endosim armor, which has energy blasts that are able to hurt people that absorb energy like Chromastone, or he could just go in hand to hand like close up. And I'm pretty sure that he's much stronger and much more durable than Chromastone is. And I know Chromastone is still extremely strong and durable, but it wouldn't be able to stand up to like really any suit that Iron Man has, in my opinion. I think the best thing that could happen for Ben is that maybe as Brainstorm, he would be able to like shut down some of Tony's suits, like, with his electricity. But again, if all of his suits end up getting shut down, he has his biological Endosim armor, which honestly is like, again, a very overpowered suit that like really can't be shut down, is extremely powerful, and he could just resort to that even if, best case scenario for Ben, he shuts down all of Iron Man's suits. So basically, again, what I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to keep this as short as I can, guys, I know I repeat myself, but whatever. I just feel that at any given time, Iron Man would still have more advantages than Ben would. Ben can switch his suits, but as soon as like he switches from Humungousaur to Jetray, Iron Man just went from a lot of advantages in speed to a lot of advantages in strength and durability. He's still gonna have at least one big advantage over Ben, no matter what alien he chooses. And now if this was Ben 10 versus Iron Man with one suit, like this like 10 alien Ben versus one suited Iron Man, honestly, I feel it would really depend on which suit we're using. if we're using something like the Endosim or maybe even the Hulkbuster, I still feel that Iron Man would probably beat Ben just because those are like really overpowered suits. But if we're using more generic suits like Mark 42 or the Stealth Armor or the Speed Armor, I honestly feel Ben would have a pretty good chance of winning just because his versatility would be off the charts in comparison to Iron Man, and just because he only needs to get rid of one suit. But again, if it's like the Endosim, then he can't shut it down, so that'd be really hard for him. But with these circumstances, I just feel that Iron Man takes the cake. And again, if you're still pretty mad that I'm using this version of Ben, I'm not trying to make Ben lose. In fact, I actually really like Ben 10. I liked watching the Alien Force show. I really like Ben 10. He's actually one of my favorite Cartoon Network characters. And I do like Iron Man 2, but I like both of these characters a lot. But I just wanted to find what would be the most fair, and because I've used it like this in a previous episode, I didn't want to cause any confusion for any returning viewers, and just with the circumstances that I've put right here in front of us, I personally just feel that Iron Man takes the cake. So, in my opinion, the winner is Iron Man. But tell me, who do you guys think would win? With the circumstances that I've given, do you think that that Ben 10 would win? If you do, please tell me in the comments below and tell me why. I really want to know why, because I want to know more about these characters. And if you think there's a more fair way to do this, tell me in the comments down below too, because then if I use Ben 10 in a future battle, I might be able to do it better. And again, you know, I like taking input from you guys. So yeah, if you can find a more fair way to do this with Ben 10, or maybe even Iron Man, because he has a lot of suits as well, tell me in the comments, because I really want to know. I'm trying to make this as fair as possible, and I feel like I did it. But if you guys have a real problem with it, you know, tell me in the comments below what I should do differently. And if you genuinely enjoyed this video, please consider clicking that like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel out, and I would love to have you guys along for the ride. I try to make these as frequently as possible. I know I've been succeeding for a while, but it might get pretty hard after like for these next few weeks. I know I said that last episode, but I'm gonna say it again. School is just so, like, it's piling work on me right now. It's honestly so hard to get these videos out. I can't wait until summer starts. I'm not sure when the next episode is going to come out. And again, I know I said at the end of the last one, I'm pretty sure I said it. But, you know, who knows? It might come out soon, but, you know, I expect the worst, because the worst could happen. I'm happy I got this video out as quickly as I did, so that's cool. And again, I really hope you enjoyed this video. But your view is plenty of contribution. So even if you don't click the like or subscribe button, thank you guys so much for watching. It really means so much to me that you guys are coming back and watching my videos and you enjoy what I do. I hope you enjoy what I do. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. It really helps the channel out, and I really do appreciate it. You have no idea how much it means to me. But next time on Who'd Win and Why, we got Ghost Rider going up against Spawn. It's the Season 7 mid-season finale, and I hope you guys are excited. I know that I am. See you all then.